Good morning, and thank you for joining us for another Sales and Marketing Fry Talks. Every second Friday, we share insights, best practices, and anecdotes from technology companies. And today, I have two gentlemen with me. One of them you probably know. This is Roland, my fellow business partner. And another one, we have Gints Mednis. Welcome back, Gints.
Thank you for having me.
And actually, both of them have very great experience of managing partner channels. And that is why we have a discussion today about how to build a partner channel that can you help scale at global landscape. And let us maybe start with the first question. Why do you need the partner channel, and how to evaluate it all if you need it?
Well, I think the first question is, do you need a partner channel at all?
Yeah.
This is getting more popular and popular question over time as more manufacturers, especially software vendors, are actually going direct, right? So there are very good reasons why not to have a partner channel. So my suggestion is to actually do some calculation, do some modeling, trying to model all the costs involved in that. So what I mean by costs, it's actually very expensive to run a partner channel. So you have to give them the margin. You have to set up the channel. You need to hire people who are actually doing maintenance, etc. So in the end, it becomes really expensive. So the first question is to calculate: does it make sense? So usually,
yes, absolutely.
Please.
Yes, absolutely. My approach when I was working on partner channel at UAV Factory was slightly different, and I started from creating a list of services that I would like partners to be able to do, and this also allows to figure out what type of partners you need. And then, exactly as you say, you can also try to look at numbers. Does it really make sense? Because sometimes the services you want to be done by partner can still be done more efficiently by your own team, or establishing perhaps or sending over one representative of your own team. And back then we were interested in things like being ability to do a demo of aircraft, having certainly aviation expertise in-house, having certain technicians, etc., etc. And it was not only about things which are related strictly to sales or marketing.
Yeah, and this is very good point what you are making, because partner channel can be used for different objectives and purposes, right? Maybe we can try to define what are the most common. If you think of technology companies, would it be a software vendor or hardware vendor? What are these typical, let's say, scenarios where partner channel can be useful?
Yeah, so usually people choose that they need a partner channel mostly because of the reason that they want to scale the sales operations. So basically they need to increase the number of touch points with the customers. So either it's stores, internet stores, or the stock being brought closer to the end user. So that is a very valid reason why to have a channel partner, to bring the product closer to the customer and just scale the sales operations. With the full understanding that it's very expensive, it still makes sense, because scaling yourself on a global level is quite a difficult task. So that is one. That is a very good reason why to have a channel. The second reason is, for example, if you need to scale support or pre-sales or post-sales support, right? So there are some products where the time involved explaining the customer, doing demos, just like you, Roland, mentioned, that this is a very time intensive operation. So having more and more people doing that, it also makes sense. Especially post-sales support as well, that you cannot do only by yourself. So you need to bring more people to the board. And one more reason is, for example, education partner channel that we had at Sonarworks. We actually built an education partner channel. The problem that we faced is that we need to educate the market also about the problem that they have. And so the product that we built...
I think you also had a benefit that many people actually need some training or education, let's say, to start using your products in studio. So it's a professional thing. And then it certainly makes sense to try to work with the training centers, with universities, to help them understand product and include your product into curriculum. Similarly, when I was working with education industry for Microsoft in Baltics, we were also paying particular care about making it easy for education institutions, starting from primary schools, even earlier, to understand the role of technology, to make it very easy for teachers to start using it. And at the end of the day, also selling products to education customers either completely for free or for very symbolic token fee. Because again, the more students have exposure to technologies, the more likely they are becoming part of productive workplace. The more large companies are willing to continue investing in Microsoft technology. So that's quite a strong reason to do it. And even if your efforts will only pay back in, I don't know, let's say some maybe 10 years, 15 years, if we talk about like middle school student until the person graduates and goes to work for a company.
Yeah,
and I think
think
the bottom. Yeah, sorry.
No, what I just wanted to add, what I also have observed, especially in last few years, another very interesting partner model which emerged is so-called partner to partner, where you have some certain competency, as your core business, but same time you actually want either enter some new areas or solutions, or you just want to serve your customers better, right? And then you actually partner with somebody who already owns this competency and can help you delivering this service as well. So that's another model which is also working very well in technology industry, at least.
Yes, and I think it has a very huge potential, because you see, for clients to keep or maintain a relationship with large number of suppliers is very difficult. So you always would choose to work with somebody you trust. But for a seller to be able to provide value, to provide innovation, etc., very often for them the best choice is not to focus only on their product, but try to think how can they put together or configure the offering which consists from also pieces from other partners.
Yeah, very true.
I also would like to introduce one more complication to the question: do we need a partner channel? It's legal considerations. This is something that is overlooked, but it's very important, actually, especially down the road when you are working already for a few years with the channel. And the problem is that the law requires you to comply with certain standards of ensuring a level playing field for everyone, basically, right? So you need to create a policy. For example, if you want to run a dealer channel, you need to have a public policy. What are the criteria that you are asking from your dealers to be accepted? And you cannot turn them down. You're not allowed to basically send the company away and not to sign a contract with them if they comply with these publicly available criteria. So this is the law in the European Union, and there's also increasingly more being adopted in other parts of the world. So what it means, essentially, you have to also factor in what it means for you later on when you want to actually limit the partner channel. You may have big problems with that. So
yes.
So the partner policy, the sales policy, it has to be very carefully crafted and publicly available before you start working.
Yeah. I think another super important thing when you considering the number of partners, or whether you need partners in certain, let's say, locations or geographies at all, is just to think very, very carefully about minimum viable scale. And what I mean by that is that, look, every vendor wants their partners to be competent. They want them to assign a person to develop your business. They want this person to be trained, want to have enough time to promote your business, and so on. But what you really need to consider is that whoever is your partner, almost in all cases, they are in business to make money. So you need to think carefully what kind of revenue they need to make actually to be able to finance the services you need them to do, right?
Absolutely.
What's the salary of a competent business development manager in respective markets? What is the cost of support services they will need to provide? And so on and so on. And I can say personally that one of the biggest business mistakes in my life was when I was once working on decision about partner channel, right? And we actually didn't do this exercise, so we haven't truly figured out what is the actual profit level partners make and whether they can afford a competent team that we want them to have. And as a result, you have more partners than can profitably exist, and then you really get into trouble, because the same people who used to promise you the world and go out develop your business suddenly are not doing that, and for simple reason they cannot afford. I mean, everybody needs to be paid their salary, and if let's say your partner sees that your business is not generating enough revenue, then they are putting the same person to work on other businesses as well, and you end up with partner who's happy to take customer orders but who cannot really afford to develop a market.
Yeah, this is very, very valid point, that I think there always should be like some trade-off between you having some certain commitment from partner and same time you offering some value in us back, right? And same time, you should not make probably it's for everyone as well. So very easy to become your partner, because then there is no value, and again, nothing will happen. But guys, what I would like to maybe us turn to is now to more practical aspect of this partner channel business. How to really select the partner? How you would approach to that? So there are certain criteria probably to look at, and certain other aspects to look at before you make a partnership.
Yeah, no, based on the I think we are answering this question already. In the first part, that you have to select the partners that actually can contribute to your goal. So you have to select what operations are you scaling? Are you scaling the sales, support, or maybe deployment, or whatever type of operations you want to scale, including education even. And then you have to select the partners who are most capable to perform that task. Exactly.
So probably geographical coverage is important, right, in that regard, or?
Yeah, well, geographies, of course, you need to collect the market data. What we are doing, we are collecting the data about the size of each of the territories and trying to prioritize them as intelligently as we can. There is no perfect market data, but there is good enough so that you can make a decision and you prioritize which territories are the first.
And when you look to the partners or potential partners, there are usually like two types of companies, like very local, very not really small, but they're not like multinational accounts, so-called, right? And there are some big companies who are represented in many markets, and there are both like pros and cons for working with the these two types of partners. What is your experience? Where you would go? Or it again very much depends on what you need.
Yeah, it really depends on the it depends on the industry. It depends on the situation. For us, for Sonarworks, we have both. We have, depending on the territory, we have selected both the large distributors, and we also have selected in some territories niche distributors. It really, you have to approach each market a little bit with some care and intelligence. There's it's very difficult to generalize this kind of statement. But I think that the point that Juran raised about the size, the minimum viable scale, is really important, because if you don't reach the minimum viable scale and you just want to take the low-hanging fruit, either the biggest partner on the market or the easiest available partner on the market, you are risking to have a passive partner that you are stuck with, that you cannot do. You are contractually bound with them for 3 years, for example. And that is a very big problem. A passive partner doesn't invest anything in the market, and you are actually worse off than to have no partner at all.
Yes, absolutely. Like my own experience is that actually when you are recruiting partners, you need to approach it similarly like you approach selling. Basically, you have to think of pipeline, right? You have to start with a list and then you start to engaging them. You want to, and there are also certain stages that you want to go through. First of all, you want them to understand what you are offering. You want to understand them the business model and actually confirm back that this business model can work for them. They have resources.
Yes.
They are interested, right? Then you need to train them. You need to sign the agreements, and then the fun basically starts, because you need to work and you need to try to manage their performance. Be very careful of what you give them and what you ask from them. And my experience is that generally as usually with pipeline, you need to start with much larger number of prospective partners than actually you want to get, right? Just to make sure if you want 3 partners, you get them indeed, and probably you are looking at talking with 15 companies. And also when you get to the business, really the reality often is very different from what you hoped for. So you always need to consider that. And if you are having, let's say, more exclusive relationship, let's say in certain geographies, then still you cannot always trust that the only partner in geography will actually deliver the results. So some geographies will work well, and some actually will not. What's your take on that, Gints? What's your feeling if you, let's say, approach 10 companies for partnership? How many of those partners do you think would at the end be successful?
It really depends on your company. For example, if you are Apple, then you can probably approach 1 and you will have a hit rate of 100%. If you are a smaller company, you probably have a hit rate of maybe 5-10% of what you approach. It depends on the size, on the attractiveness of the business that you can offer to this potential partner. But about exclusivity, what I think is the reason, the argument that you have to consider is, again, it's very tied with this minimum viable scale. So, for example, in Sonarworks, we have decided to give exclusive distribution to territories because the size of the business is small enough so that you cannot break it down into smaller pieces. You have to give everything to one partner and allow them to actually make enough money to hire a proper person to manage this business. If you start adding more companies, they will compete with each other, and it's going to be many passive partners with no results.
Yeah, and ending up with loss. Nobody wins, right?
And in this regard, I'm just thinking how much you as a vendor have to invest into so-called success management, and if at all, how that success management plays the role in the partner, let's say, channel management.
It's very important. I think the success management is the most interesting topic of all the topics that about the channel.
I would say that if you look at what a person does as a channel manager or partnership manager, it's pretty much a work of success management, because you cannot meet your goals unless your partners are successful. And very often it also requires you to think back, okay, but how the success looked like, what qualities or what competencies partner need to have to be successful, right? Because I mean, this is tricky thing. This is real difficult to make somebody outside of their company without having any formal influence on their employees, etc., making them successful. And one of best ways, and I'm sure Gints can also talk about that, is actually to have a business plans, very clear business plans in place, with outlining what each part is contributing, what are success criteria, how these are measured, etc. And it's super important whenever you are agreeing about such business plan to make sure that on other side of table you actually have basically company owners, founders, or senior managers sitting. Of course, if you're partnering, let's say, with large company, you cannot have that always. But basically, you want to talk with guys who's ultimately responsible for business, not a let's say, account manager, not even perhaps a unit manager, but the most senior people you can get.
Yeah, the B2B business is very much trust based as well. So
Yes.
if you understand that, there are two ways how you can approach target and business plan management with your partner. Either you push it, either you say, I expect from you to do this and that, or you can say we work together to create a plan. And the latter approach is better. It's better to actually cooperate and see each other as partner in the same boat.
Absolutely.
As opposed to pushing and demanding. In the long run, it will bring better results. How we do it at Sonarworks, the cadence that we are usually having is that first we sign the contract, and then the contract is kind of put away. It's done. It's only the legal part of the cooperation, and then the real business is described in the term sheet that is attached to the contract. What are the targets? What we are expecting in terms of new dealers found, new shops opened, etc. And you create this business plan on yearly basis. We actually start doing this work already in October for the next year. So it takes 2-3 months to negotiate with the partner what are the expectations from next year. You put it in the term sheet as an addendum to the contract, and then you start the year with this expectation, and then you do the cycle of kind of feedback and adjustment on quarterly basis. You see how the past quarter was, how we were doing, and what are the expectations. And we always encourage partners to also speak openly if they see any problems or issues that they will not be able to achieve the target, right? So if you are aggressively demanding something from your partner, they will keep silent until the last moment, and that creates a big problem. They're afraid to lose the contract. So we are not threatening them with losing the contract, as opposed to we are openly speaking about the problems that they are seeing and how to solve them. And that said, we always sign the contract for a year. We don't want to lock us in for more than that. We sign the contract for a year, and then it automatically is renewed unless somebody decides not to.
Yeah, my experience is that actually apart and maybe you are also doing the same, but my experience is that what worked really well is actually to be able to prepare a detailed scorecard of partners' performance every month, right? And basically have a call with them and discuss it. And it serves a number of purposes. First of all, it keeps this monthly cadence and focus on the goals. And every month you can have conversation. How is it going with this goal? Where are you? Right? What are you doing to meet this goal? What kind of support you need, or what kind of problems you have to escalate? That's one thing. And second thing is that scorecards as such are kind of a concentrated view or information which you can quite successfully use also with management of those companies. Because then what happens? Basically, you have, let's say, a business development manager who's in charge of your product and whom you are contacting quite frequently, right? But you can help his manager because you can send a detailed scorecard. And then his manager doesn't need to try to figure out things are going well or not, but whenever he has, let's say, some kind of one-to-one session or talking with his subordinate, he has a clear picture and he can ask directly, all right, what is our company? What are you as business development manager doing to fill those gaps or turn these lights from red to green? So, and as a vendor, I think you also have very often to think how to make this managing your business easier for your partner by providing information, maybe giving access to some your own tools that you use, and so on.
And just in the same context, there are a lot of things what probably you expect from partners to do for your business as a vendor, right? But at the same time, again, I'm trying to understand from your experience, what are the most kind of critical and same time valuable for partners things they expect in return? For instance, how much marketing investment plays the role? Is it important that you are able to offer some money for them to invest into market development or anything else? Or maybe there are other things?
On a very high level, I break down these expectations in this BRAT model that I think already mentioned before. Yes. So the partners expect from you good brand value and good brand reputation because they represent your brand. They also, it's very natural that they expect the products to be well received. They expect revenue, so they need enough margin. They don't want to, try to save every cent. They have to have healthy enough margin, especially nowadays when the price competition globally is so profound. And then they need activity from your part. This is, for example, what Roland's mentioned, that instead of asking just the partner what you will do for me, you are also giving back. You're giving the scorecard, you're actually doing analysis, you're providing the high-level market feedback. This is where you rank among the other partners. This is what you have done, and the others have done this. Giving ideas, giving marketing money is one of these things as well, if you can afford to give some money for the marketing efforts. And finally, they expect good working relationships between the managers, with trustful relationships that are healthy, that do not require any, hiding information or any manipulations. Open, nice human relationships. So these four things, if you bring these to the partner, they should be quite satisfied.
And Gints, what would you say? What do you do when things doesn't work out? And let's say you have a partner, they promised a lot, and something changed. You see, they are not active, they are not promoting your product, sales drop. How to handle those situations? Of course,
difficult situation.
Purely ending the contract.
Yeah, we have had these situations before. We definitely avoid as much as possible changing the partner. That is the last thing you are doing. But sometimes you have to do that because of good reasons. And if you are doing your work properly, basically you have the business plan in place, you have the quarterly review in place, you have working relationships, and the partner is still not performing, it's very natural that they take the responsibility for that, because they promised, they didn't deliver over and over again. So it depends on your level of patience when you want to finish. But that's why we sign the contracts for a yearly basis, because we have this option to exit once a year, the contract. As simple as that.
Yeah, I think it's a good approach. You don't want to be locked in for too long. But I would say that as with everything in business, it's actually very realistic that some of your partners will fail. There may be many reasons. There may be also such a reason that, let's say, a person who was developing your business has left, and they have difficult recruitment situation, right? That hopefully is not that's hopefully going to improve and change. Sometimes there's some mergers, some acquisitions, and so on. But generally, you have to be ready to react. And the best is actually to keep track on relationship, on the results, so that the bad news or the bad signals you can detect quite early, because that gives you time advantage, and you can think, okay, what are my options? Maybe indeed I need to start looking for alternative partners, or I just can wait, or maybe it doesn't make sense to continue investing or looking at that market or geography at all.
Yeah, sometimes maybe some healthy competition can help as well, so to motivate some players to take some action more actively.
Yeah, but I would still say that be careful with healthy competition, because from vendor's perspective, it's easy to think, all right, we need to increase competition, and we have people waiting to come in. But then very often you end up with oversaturated markets with many partners competing on price between each other. And as a result, the only thing they are capable or willing to do is to make transaction. And
it's the last thing what everyone wants to have, probably the price competition. That nobody will win actually from that. But thank you guys for sharing your insights. We have just one question, actually, I see from Reiko about the exclusivity from EU legal perspective. I'm sure, Gint, you can share some experience here.
Yeah, it is allowed to have exclusive relationships in the European Union. You are allowed to say that your territory is, let's say, Germany, but you are not allowed to limit the cross-border trade. If the German distributor wants to serve a French dealer, they are allowed to do that. You're not allowed to limit the cross-border trade. There are some. It's a bit more complicated than that. You can, for example, limit this kind of ability by asking for certification. So, for example, you need to be properly equipped with the equipment and knowledge and people to do certain things. So that is if your product allows you to kind of limit the freedom with these instruments, use that. But if your product is very simple, let's say it's a hair comb, it's just a box, it will be very difficult to limit. And yeah, so you can so in the legal speak, it's called the focus territory. So you can give a distributor the focus territory of Germany, but they will be allowed to sell your product abroad as well.
Yeah. Okay, thank you for answering this question. It's time to wrap up, and as usually, we invite you to follow us on LinkedIn, our company ibd-consulting, and by hashtag you can find also all the information related to Fry Talks. Just use hashtag Fry Talks. And we are looking forward to have a next episode together with you. So if you have actually any good topic to discuss and you would like to be in our show, just ping me on or Roland's, and let's discuss whether this is a topic what can be relevant for the audience, and let's bring it out. Otherwise, I wish you... Yes, Roland.
Andres, but I looked at calendar, and actually, next Friday Talks probably will take place in New Year, right?
Oh,
because in 2 weeks, since now it's Christmas already. Yes, so
then we wish everyone Merry Christmas and
Happy New Year.
And probably then we connect already in January, early January, and continue. Anyway, guys, if you have any good topic you would like to discuss with us or with the audience, please bring it to our attention, and let's see how we can cooperate in this. Otherwise, once again, thank you, Gints, for coming and sharing your very valuable insights. Thank you, Roland, as well, for sharing your personal insights from managing partners in the past. And yeah, have a great rest of the Friday and enjoy weekend. Stay healthy.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.